Today I'm going to share with you 3 events that changed my life forever. I am genuinely hoping that by sharing my story that you will take a moment to evaluate and reflect and think about if the life that you're currently living is the one that you want. Remember, it's never too late to start the next chapter, and it's never too late to start writing your own story. If you're not feeling fulfilled and you feel like it's time for a change, now's the time. In addition to the 3 events, I'm also going to share with you 5 valuable lessons that I learned along the way over the last 4 years. I'm hoping that by sharing these lessons, that you can take control of your next chapter before life forces your hand like my life did. Hi, I'm Barb, and this is Barbo's Buzz. This channel is about your life, your next chapter, and writing your own story. So if there's something you don't like, or if there's something that you're unhappy with, now's the time. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the term or the quote, your life can change in an instant, by Omar Atani. And oh my goodness, is that statement ever true? It really puts things into perspective. So this takes me to event number 1. I'm going to take you back to August of 2020. So at this time, I just turned 48 and a half. I'd gone to work. It was an August summer day. I'd gone to work in the morning and I worked from 7 to noon, and I went home for lunch. It was a beautiful day, so I decided to eat out on my deck. After I finished eating my lunch, I was sitting there and just looking out, enjoying the scenery. And all of a sudden, this weird sensation came into my head. It would be like when you're on an airplane and the elevation shifts and your ears pop and you get that ringing. I felt off and I knew something was wrong. So I looked down and I went to move my left arm and I couldn't. In sheer panic, rather than calling an ambulance, I called one of my best friends, and he came over and he then called the ambulance, and off I go to the hospital. Now it turns out I had a stroke, and I want to preempt this. I have never had any kind of health problems. I didn't have high blood pressure, no, high cholesterol, no heart issues. And I come from a family of heart issues, so I've always been tested, and I've never been in the hospital for any reason outside of having a child. So totally unexpected. Now this affected my left side. It affected my face. My face drooped. Now that went away within 24 hours. It affected my mouth. So I couldn't feel my mouth. It would be like having gone to the dentist and your whole mouth is frozen. My mouth felt like that all the time. What else happened? I'm trying to think. I struggled to eat. I struggled to swallow. I struggled to drink. I struggled to speak. My voice and my pitch were affected. It was really difficult to get sound out and to speak loud or quieter. I didn't have that control. So event number 1, pretty intense. I took 2 weeks off work. I went back to work part-time and just kind of worked up my hours. Now, if you've ever had a stroke or you know anyone that has, the effects are exhausting. I found, especially that first week afterwards, just getting up to have a shower was everything I had in me. I'd literally have to go have a nap after having had a shower because I was so exhausted. And I don't know how to explain it, but I really struggled with my head. It felt like my head was wrapped in cotton, and when I'm sitting across from somebody speaking to them, I could hear them, but it was like the volume was turned down and it was very muffled, and So there was a lot of things to overcome in the short term, and speech obviously being one of them. I am 4 years out and I still struggle at times with my mouth not working properly and me tripping over my tongue and those kind of things. And you probably can see that in my videos, and you can probably hear it because I do stumble on occasion. It's like my brain's working, but my mouth isn't. So that was event number one. And then about 9 months later, I had just turned 49. I woke up one morning, my alarm had gone off and I went to sit up and the room was spinning. It was spinning like a reel over and over. I knew something was wrong, and this time, having been through a medical situation prior to this, I decided probably a good idea to call an ambulance. So the ambulance came and got me. They took me to the hospital, and they were adamant that I was experiencing vertigo because the moment I tried to sit up, I instantly wanted to get sick, and every movement made me want to get sick. And so by the time I got to the hospital, my ER doctor was going through my chart and realized that I had had a stroke in the past. So just to be on the safe side, they decided to check. They did a CAT scan to ensure that I didn't have another, and shocker, I had had another stroke. So here I am, 49 years old, with my second stroke. Now this one was very different from my first. This one affected my mobility and made me nauseous. It felt like I had the flu. So once that dissipated, then I had to deal with the mobility pieces. For probably the 10 days that I was in the hospital, I walked for 6 days with a walker. I wasn't able to stand up and keep my balance, and it was rough. So this was very different, and the recovery from this happened much quicker than the recovery from the first stroke. But with the second came some other things. I was diagnosed with AFib. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. What else? And I guess for the remainder of 2021, I really kind of struggled with medications and sheer, utter, complete exhaustion. Now, I'm guessing that over the course of 9 months, having had 2 strokes, in large part that would have been the reason that I was so exhausted. I slept a lot. Now, unfortunately, with these situations, the fact that you're not moving a whole bunch because you are so tired all the time, your activity level is low. So from that comes weight gain, and then on medications, off medications. It seems like every time I try something new, I gain a few pounds. So the whole battle of the bulge is difficult. But you know, there are a lot worse things in life than being heavy. I'm here, I'm alive, things are good. 2023 went reasonably smooth. This brings us to 2024, where the third event takes place. I was working for this amazing company. I had a job that I absolutely loved. I had an incredible team, and I was, I'm gonna say, 7 weeks from my 6-year employment anniversary. And I went to work, and regardless of having a exemplary work ethic, a spotless record, and being dedicated to the company, that sadly doesn't compete with office politics or poor leadership. And 50% of my team found themselves without employment over the next couple weeks. So now, all in all, this sounds terrible, but let me just recap a little bit. Yes, it was terrible, absolutely. Having had 2 strokes, and then no sooner you think you kind of got things figured and life is starting to improve a little bit, then you get nailed with something else. And I did feel sorry for myself a little bit. And I did go through the, why are these things happening to me? Can I just get a break? Like, why me? You know, like, what have I done to have all this stuff happen to me? But after you get through all of that, it really changed my perspective. I had thought about going back a little bit about what I thought about in the past was I was going to originally retire at 60. And then when I had stroke 1, it kind of made me think a little bit. And then stroke 2 really made me think that this is not what I'm wanting to do for the rest of my life. So maybe, because what happens if you retire at 60 and then at 65, you're done. So with all the health issues that I was experiencing, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but with all the experiences that I was dealing with, I thought to myself, maybe it's time to retire a little sooner. So I had made myself a plan that I was going to try to retire at 55. So this took place just weeks before my 52nd birthday. So here I am 3 years out. I knew that I wanted to start a business, and I had done research on what kind of a business. I had taken some classes, online courses, to educate myself in this business. So I was kind of ready, and what my plan had been was to start this business over time so that by the time 55 came along, that I had it up and running and would be able to make some money from 55 to 60. Now, granted, this wasn't my plan, and what do you do now? I decided, you know what? I'm gonna take the bull by the horns. I'm gonna do this. So March 1st, I started my business. March 15th, I signed my first client, and I've been ticking along ever since. In addition to that, on November 1st, so this is all in 2024, November 1st, I started my YouTube channel. Through all of this negativity, I have had some incredible experiences, and I have to say that 2024 has been by far one of the best years I've had in a long time. Now, yes, it was scary. Yes, there was some ups and downs, and it was tiring because I do find, because of my strokes, that learning is draining, you know, and it's exhausting. So I do nap a lot because of it. But that said, I am learning new things every day. I wake up invigorated every day. I'm excited to try something different, and I'm doing totally different things. So I come from a 30-year career in the corporate sector where I dealt with administration, accounting, and management. So now with my business that I started a digital marketing agency that I can do from anywhere. So if I want to travel, my clients come with me, my work comes with me. If I want to, you know, say spend the winter, I live in a place where it's super cold in the wintertime. So if I want to relocate for the winter months to somewhere warm, I can do that. I can do my business. So immense amount of freedom has been granted by making these changes. So yes, these 3 events were awful and difficult. And also, I do not recommend having a stroke during COVID. It was stroke 1, especially when that was kind of in the early stages of COVID, and so super scary to go through that, but then to go through it and not be allowed any family, any visitors, anything. It's terrifying. So note to self, never doing that again. So now let's talk about the 5 lessons that I've learned through my experiences. And I think the biggest number 1 is don't take anything for granted. You just never know. Like I said, life can change in an instant, and you may think you have all the time in the world, but what if you don't? Or what if person in your life, whether that be a friend, a partner, a family member, that you plan on doing things with, maybe they're not around. So act in the moment. Now, I'm not saying do crazy things and spend all kinds of money and stuff like that, but if there are experiences that you want to have, don't wait. And that's for health, relationships, and just opportunities. Today is as good as any day to try something different. And number 2, I would say, is embrace change even when it's hard. Now, I would have never thought that starting my own business would be as rewarding as it has been. And was it scary? Absolutely. Am I going to fall flat on my face, or is this going to be successful? Well, it has been successful, and I didn't know if it was even something I would enjoy. Well, I thought it might be something I would enjoy, but you don't know till you try. So if there's something that you're thinking about doing, do it. I can't say that enough. And number 3 is you're stronger than you think. It's not till you're kind of pushed into a corner that you come out fighting. But I found strength that I didn't know I had. I know I'm resilient, and sometimes it's frustrating that you have to be, but there's this feeling of accomplishment that comes from that as well, and that is super rewarding. And number 4, don't wait for the perfect moment. I remember people used to say to you that when I was younger, at least, they said to you, if you wait till you have enough money to have kids, you will never have kids. If you wait till you have enough money to do something, you'll never do it, because life gets in the way and the money just goes out the door, and it just will never happen. And last but not least, lesson number 5 is prioritize yourself. Prioritize your well-being. All this is of absolutely no use. Knowing all the lessons, knowing the experiences, and going through things is of absolutely no use if you don't have the health to enjoy the life. So be sure to take care of yourself. And sometimes I think we are the last person we look out for, but start small, take little steps to improve your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, eat better, all the things. You don't have to change everything overnight, but take necessary steps to make things better. Life doesn't always go the way we plan, and me being a planner, it's infuriating, but sometimes out of these obstacles, challenges, come wonderful things. So be open. And if my story speaks to you, I would love for you to check out my other video on why I started my YouTube channel at 52. I think you might find it interesting. And I would love nothing more than for you to subscribe to this channel and join my community and be a part of my adventure and allow me to be part of your adventure. That's all for today. So I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.